Okay, guys, y'all are back. I was taking a little tea break. So we are talking about the 2-week rule, and now we are talking about with your baby. 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks for them to go to nights and days. And this is a big thing. Moms go, why aren't you sleeping? They're not going to sleep at night because for 9 months you bounce them around in your tummy during the day, unless you were truly a night nurse or worked nights. So for 9 months or 10 months, they were in there, they were sleeping when you were bouncing them around. And then when you were asleep, they were up, they were kicking, they were moving, and that's what they're used to. It's going to take about 2 weeks for them to go from nights to days, so don't rush it. You need to become a night nurse. You need to be able to flip, and what I'm saying about flip is like you let your partner or your mom, whoever's there helping you during the day, say, hey, you bring me him or her only when it's time to eat, and you go and lay down in the bed and take you that 2-3 hour nap, and then they just bring you the baby to breastfeed, and then you say, okay, I'm done. You go and burp them, and then they get to go and visit and do whatever. And then about 6-7 o'clock at night, you try to get up, and then y'all have a little time together, mom and dad, and then dad or grandma, whoever's helping you, goes to sleep, and then you stay up at night. And eventually, about the week and a half, it's going to start rotating, and in about 2 weeks, you're going to have a baby sleeping at night if you can transition them. Most of the time, we hope that anyways. But if you try to go and stay up all night and all day and all night and all day, you're going to lose your mind, and you're going to go, I can't do this. But you've got this. You just have to think smart, and you have to figure out what's best for you and your family. And that is one of the things I really harp on is sleep, because you don't get it. And if you don't try to find that simple medium of sleeping and going from nights to days, you're going to lose it. So try my little trick and get somebody to stay with them during the day. Go, hey, sister, I need you on Monday. Mama, can you come over on Tuesday? A good friend or church worker or, somebody's going to come on Wednesday, and let them stay for 4 or 5 hours. They really want to visit with that baby anyways. Let them, and then they can cook dinner for you or whatever, because people want to help, and we are so bad that we don't take help. This is a time moms need help. Motherhood is hard, and those first 2 weeks you will lose your mind and cry probably every day or every other day if you aren't doing it already, because you've got so many hormones, and you've got hormones, and you've got stress, and then you've got these emotions that you can't do it, and then you've got lack of sleep, and you lose it. So learn how to sleep when people are over at your house, and tell them just to bring your baby to eat, and then that's it. So when those family members or friends are helping you, and another trick I tell moms is don't put your TT Poo-Poo's feedings in those apps that you see on your phones. That's not a great idea for several reasons. For one, what if grandma changes a diaper and your phone is in your room being charged, and she's going to forget to tell you, and you're like at 2 a.m, oh my God, my baby hadn't peed or pooped. Also, you can write down your feedings, and so it gives you some idea of when they're going to eat next, as well as you write down what you ate, and that will help you. So if, say, for instance, you're going to go out of the house for 2 hours, you show your sister or your aunt and go, hey, this is what he's done for the last 3 days. This is probably when he's going to wake up and want to eat, or, I'm expecting a poo-poo or whatever. You have it down. And to write it down in a journal with the TT Poo-Poos and feedings is that you can give it to your pediatrician, and you don't have to think about it, because I will tell you, once again, you are physically and emotionally exhausted, and you don't remember things. You don't even remember if you brush your teeth, honestly. You're going to go, did I brush my teeth today? I don't know. Oh my God, did I even take a shower? What's going on with me? And you're like, I don't even care about my hair anymore. But if you write this down, this simple little trick, it will cut back on your stress and everybody having to worry about it. So take you this cute little flat notebook and write it all down, and then you can put this in your baby bag. And a great thing is when you go to the pediatrician, you're sitting there waiting, and the baby's sleeping, and you're just sitting there watching and looking at all the families. Take your book out, and you know what? You already have it. Make it a journal. Write down this is what we did this week, or he broke out in a rash, or, he had a fever, and telling your pediatrician, hey, this is what we did. What do you think? When should I start increasing this? Or when should I be worried? Do we need to, put, rice in their cereal? Things like that. Keeping it with you will help you tremendously as well. So another bit of advice I would give you when you are feeding your baby and your mom and somebody's watching them is don't wait till they're hungry. Using this little journal or book that you have, writing down everything will help you. If you know in about 2 to 3 hours, they're going to be hungry, mom, she's going to bring them to you, because if he gets to that point where he is at no return and he's already stressed, you have about 4 or 5 minutes and then they're like, and they want to eat. You don't want them. Then they're overwhelmed and stressed, and then they may not even latch on, and then you're having to calm them down, and then you're going to cry because they won't latch on. So if you can, if all possible, try to get to them before they get those mean hungry cues, is what I call them. Just a little eye fluttering, mouth watering, tongue looking around. Get those, and those are a lot easier than when they're past the point of return and you have to calm them down to even want to eat. Also, it's going to take about 2 weeks when we're breastfeeding for your nipples to toughen up. Nobody's ever sucked on your nipples every 2 to 3 hours, and yes, it does hurt. Use the colostrum God gave you. Once you are breastfeeding one side, the other side's going to leak automatically. Use that, rub it on your nipples, take off your bra, let it air out. And then if it's still uncomfortable, then you can use the mother's cream that I recommended. I will have it in a link below from Amazon that a lot of mothers do say it's pretty good versus the lanolin cream that you get at other places. But that's your call, and definitely you do what's best feeling for you. But also when they're sore, you can, and I'll add a link to all of these, get a nipple shells and nipple gels and your pads and your creams. Get all of that stuff to help, because breasts they're going to be sore and they're going to be irritated for about 2 weeks. Somebody's sucking on them and it hurts. You're not going to give up. This is a job, and it takes about 2 weeks to get everything going. Think of it like that. You wouldn't quit a job within the first 2 weeks. You may go, this is not great. It's going to take a little time. I'll get this down, and it takes about 2 weeks. So just think of this as this is your new job, and it's going to take about 2 weeks. And then we're going to see hopefully how long you can go for that job. Hopefully it's 3 months, 6 months. It'd be fabulous, a year or even longer, what pediatricians are recommending now. But at least think of it for the first 2 weeks. This is a new job before you say, hey, I give up. Because honestly, after that 2 weeks, it gets to be unbelievably easy. You don't have to worry about the bottles and boiling the water and then put it in the refrigerator. And has it been out an hour? That's what's going to help you is time management. And breastfeeding is easier, but it does take about 2 weeks to figure it out. Are already overwhelmed because everything is just coming at you. So if you can just say to yourself, yes, I'm going to do this for at least 2 weeks, or say 3 weeks, because after that 2.5 week mark, you got it. When they latch on, especially those little boys, for the first 30 seconds, it's like, owie, 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 because they're going to suck, and then they take that long, deep suck. When they're sucking, get you something to suck. Put a straw in your water or your tea or Kool-Aid or whatever you're drinking. And when they're fixing to latch on, you've got the baby here and they're fixing to go to town, you grab that or you put it to the side and you suck. And I promise you, by the 30 seconds, that ouch, this will be gone. You've done your water or your liquids, let down, and you're like, oh, I did it. We're back on and we're calmed down. We're not so upset. You've done two things at once. You've hydrated yourself and you distracted yourself. And that's a simple little trick I can tell you that helps with those ouchies for those 30 seconds for those first 2 weeks. So try that tip. So with the baby and the 2 week rule, it takes about 2 weeks for their bodies to kind of get used to everything. It's going to take 2 weeks for that, roughly for that cord to fall off. It's going to take 2 weeks roughly for that circumcision to heal. And when you can start bathing them in their baths, it's going to take 2 weeks for their skin to kind of get used to it. You're going to see rashes and you're going to see, oh my gosh, they got mosquito bites or these bumps and sores. We have to realize they just got brand new pores. And even you don't want to put anything on them. Don't put lotions and definitely not powders because you don't want them to breathe that in. And you don't want to put, creams and things like that on them. Just if you see an irritation, use your colostrum. It'll help heal that. But those spots will come and go. They just got brand new pores and it takes about 2 weeks for their skin to toughen up. I will tell you, I don't recommend Johnson & Johnson's or the name brand products you see every day unless they're organic. Most of those baby soaps do have formaldehyde in it, and those are cause for concerns with your skin and your newborn. So you can read about that and information about that. But for the first 2 weeks, I would probably use something very sensitive and possibly something organic. Also, with the 2-week rule with your baby, you know, we talked about, you know, the pores, it takes 2 weeks. They're also going to shake for 2 weeks, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why we lay them down back as best. They're going to cross their eyes. They're going to stick their tongue out. There's nothing wrong. They just got these. So they're not cold or nervous. They just got those nerves. And it takes about 2 weeks for their bodies to adjust, as well as it takes 2 weeks for them to produce the clotting factor. That's why the nurses at the hospital probably gave your baby vitamin K, because they don't have a clotting factor, especially if it's a little boy and he's going to have a circumcision. He's going to bleed a little bit, as well as about 2 weeks for the jaundice to go. It takes about 2 weeks that it kind of climax, and then it goes down. So don't freak out when you go to the pediatricians and they go, oh my gosh, your bilirubin is 20 and it was 14 last time. Well, it's how old is that baby, and based on the baby's age, it will determine. There's a graph that we use, so don't freak out with that. But it does take about 2 weeks for them to go, okay, they're not so jaundiced now. Their body's figuring it out, and they're peeing and they're pooping, and it's doing much better. So that's another 2-week thing. It takes about 2 weeks for that baby's body to start working. So with the circumcision and the cord care, you're going to bathe them or sponge bathe them. So in 2 weeks, your cord will start drying and your circumcision will be healed, and you can start submerging your baby, with not submerging their head, but submerging them in warm water. Before then, you're going to do a little sponge bath. It takes about 2 weeks for all that to heal. So once that is healed, then you can put them in that water. But before then, you're going to sponge them off. So guys, this is, I guess, the end of the 2-week rule. I hope you guys were able to take this in and it made sense to you. And I hope it helps you in some way. If it helps one person, I'm great. If it helps 10, I'm ecstatic. I'm glad that you were with me this evening, and I hope you continue to watch me. And by all means, you've got this. You can do it. I am proud of you guys. And if you have any questions or concerns, I would love to hear from you. Put it in my comments or send me an email. It's Baby Go Home Care. So my abbreviation's bghc.llc@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And until then, good luck. You've got this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody, and y'all have a great evening.